bees, they are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn.
Hi friends, my name is Mackenzie, also known as Emtothethird, and this is the Emtothethird Knitting Podcast, episode 50, which is very wild. This is Maple. I guess she's feeling cuddly today, and I've got a lot of knitting to talk with you about. I just got back from Flock Fiber Festival, where I was selling my naturally dyed yarn, some fiber bats, some illustrated goods, including t-shirts and stickers, and I will be having a shop update of all of my leftover stock. So at the end of this video, I'll do a little preview of all of the yarn, fiber, and whatnot that are available at emtothethirdyarn.com. So that's what's going on. I have definitely gotten a lot of knitting done recently, so I'm excited to share that with you. And yeah. I knew that this year was going to be very busy, and the first two events of about four are done. It's like wild. So I will be going again this year to knitting camp with Starlight Knitting Society, which is the store that I work at. That is next month. And then in November, I will be at Sacred Sheep in Portland, Oregon. It is the second year that event will be happening, and I'm very excited about it. If you are going to be there, please stop by and say hi. I will be there with, again, sharing a booth with my friend Zoe of Junebug and Darlin. So that's kind of like the logistics. Also, this plant is maybe too close to me. So let's start out first of all with what I'm wearing. So this is the Fest Vest by Amba O'Brien. I finished this last fall, like right around the time that I went to knit camp. But it was very long. I had made it about 13 inches, and I was finding that when I was styling it, I wasn't actually enjoying the way that it looked. So I took out a couple repeats. There are nice copper buttons on the front, and I've been wearing it like this. I thought it looked really cute with this outfit today. I've also been buying not a lot, but I've bought a few vintage pieces recently. I'm kind of getting my how to find plus size pieces on Etsy and eBay down, like my searching. And so I found a couple of these skirts. Normally when I buy clothing, period, and definitely vintage, I avoid polyester, but I've bought two poly skirts recently, and I find that I really like them because they don't cling to my belly. And so I have two of these, this amazing orange color. I couldn't believe that it was gonna fit, and it fits perfectly. And a black one. That one I found on the rack at Goodwill. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling very autumnal. I got back from Seattle from Flock, and Portland is cloudy, overcast, cool. So yeah, it definitely feels like late summer. Yeah, it's kind of wild. It felt like it was summer for so long and just hot, and now it's oh, is that pumpkin spice that I smell? Is that a crackling fire that I hear? Crunchy leaves? I don't know. Anyway, I'm a fall baby. I think a lot of knitters are, but my birthday is in October, and I just love the fall, so I'm getting excited for it, So let's start with FOs. The very first FO, my most recent FO, is another the simple thing. So this is with my yarn Sueño. Now, this is a color that I have been trying to get with natural dyes for a while, and I kind of got it a little bit on a fluke. So it's just like this perfect chartreuse. I have seen other, like, I know it's a color that you can get, but the way I was doing it just wasn't quite working. And I dyed this like very bright yellow with weld, and then I sort of was like, okay, I need this pot. I pulled it out and just dropped it in like a pot that had a little bit of logwood in it. But I don't know the amount of logwood that was in it. It was a very small amount though. And when I pulled it out, I was like, this is the color I have been looking for. Now we know that weld, or I know that weld, which is a very, very bright yellow, and logwood, which is a very, very bright purple, together make some amazing shades of green. It's the basis for one of my the colors in my line of Sueño called Gathering Moss. It gives this like really amazing green, but it's more like an army green, and this like bright chartreuse moment is like really excellent. So while I was at Flock, I was talking to two other natural dyers, Brooke of Sincere Sheep and Kelly of Bedhead Fibers, and I was like, you guys, this color though. And they were both like, here's probably what you want to do. And I was like, that's what I think I need to do, but like I want it to be like I can like go to it and I know it's gonna happen. So I have to test that out. But yeah, I knit this very cute simple scarf, or simple thing. You know, it's very much like the Sophie scarf, but I really like the way the ends are better. It's just like cleaner. It's like nicer, the pattern. But it's like perfect. Like even this, yeah. I have like a denim sort of like coat that I see it with, but anyway, this like color, so good, loving it. I wear it like that, or I wear it in like a little bow. I also have a bright red one, but this one I think is going to be a perfect addition to my wardrobe. So we've got that little guy, and then I finally finished my turtle dove shawl. I showed the beginning of this in the last podcast episode. I'm using my base Wondrous sock held double for this. The pattern said that I would only need one skein, and I did not check my gauge, but I did have to break into a second one. Not like the worst thing in the world, but I sort of was hoping that I would get away with one skein, but I didn't. And again, this one I'm kind of wearing, so instead of a square knot, this is what I've been doing. So you start the first knot, but you leave it loose, and then you pull the end through, and then you tighten this side, and then, so one side is like a knot, and the other one is loose and can be adjusted, and then it sort of sits real cute like that. So this one also, like, I could totally wear it with this outfit. It has some more interest in it. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think it's very sweet, and it's a sample, but also, you know, for me to wear. This is my Superwash BFL nylon base. So it's not like it's very soft, but it's not soft in the way that non-superwash is. It's not scratchy, I should say, but it definitely feels like superwash. It has a nice drape to it. I think it's like the perfect size to wear. And just like, look at those cables. I'm not always a cables girly, but these ones were fun. This was like the right amount of cables. So I've got two new neckerchiefs to wear in very good colors for me. Like, again, I could wear it here. I could wear either of them. And that feels really nice. I also just wanted to show this sample. I did not knit this. My friend Emmy knit this, and I've been borrowing it. But it is Sueño in Sugar Plum with Spin Cycle, and it's brioche. That's like the back side. And it's so nice. And it just shows how well Sueño works with Spin Cycle. So yeah, this was another little sample I had at my booth. So cute, right? I love a triangle cowl. So now I will return it to Emmy, even though I've had it for like 6 months or something. Okay, last but certainly not least, I finished my High Time tank by Golden Boy Knits, Kimberly. And I got to spend time with her this weekend at Flock, and she's just like such a gem of a human. So yeah, look at this. Look how cute it is. So I use Mondim as my base yarn in this great blue. I'm not a blue girly. I usually don't like gravitate towards blues, but for some reason I was drawn to this, and then I sort of realized that it was giving Chaperone from the Hot to Go video. I'm gonna post a little clip here, and I was like, maybe that's where I was coming from. So I will say that going from a fingering weight body into a fingering weight body was not my favorite thing ever. I was like, ugh, so much fingering weight knitting, but I'm so happy with how this turned out. I use this, like, it's called Cocktail Deluxe from Hobie, and it is like this sparkly polyester yarn, which I thought would just be so fun, and it is, but it was kind of unraveling because it's like, yeah, it's polyester. It doesn't like cling to itself like wool does. So I actually went through each little fringe and like burnt the end so that it wouldn't continue unraveling. So that's kind of fun. I never thought I'd use fire in a knit, but I'm so happy with the way this turned out. It's a great pattern. If you need a pattern for your next Orville Peck show or for line dancing, this is a great one. I think she did a really great job on it, and I love my finished object. And then one more FO. So you saw me working on these in the last episode, and I finished them. They are my Handspun Socks. So yeah. So I talked about them kind of at length in the last episode. They were my Christmas Eve cast on. I was like, Christmas Day? Christmas Eve cast on. I had finished my Advent self-striping sock, and I wanted something special, so I brought this, but I was knitting on a US 1, which is my typical sock needle size, and I didn't think that I would need anything different. And so I brought that needle to finish the socks, and the gauge was very tight. So I finished the first sock and then started the second one, and I was like, this isn't enjoyable to knit. And in addition to the hand spun, I was holding it double with a silk mohair the whole time. In hindsight, I wish I had just held the silk mohair on the heel and toe for extra support. I think I went like a little bit overboard, but that's purely for the knitting experience and not the wearing experience, because I'm actually really enjoying wearing these and have been recently. The bottom is felting just like a little tiny bit as I wear them. They're very warm. They fit perfectly. And yeah, I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of them this fall and winter, and hopefully longer than that. But yeah, I'm very excited, and I've started spinning up another bat from Artifacts of Appreciation. It's actually like a self-striping bat set. So I prepared that and have been spinning that on my wheel. So I'll keep you updated as I make progress on that, because I'm definitely got the little spinning bug at the moment. So yeah, there are my little hand spun socks. I'm very proud of them. I think they look really nice. And I didn't follow a pattern, I just kind of added these little like wedges. It's just like one row of purl, one row of knit two together yarn over all the way across, and then a second row of purl, and then varying numbers of just stockinette in between those purl rows. I think it was maybe different every time. But yeah, that's those little socks. And I do feel like I have like a ton of deadline knitting right now, even though all I want to do is cast on. And the cast on that is like most at the forefront of my mind is with some handspun that I recently finished. So in the last episode, I had just gotten back from Black Sheep gathering, and I had a beautiful braid of top that I had gotten from my friend Heather, who is Girl with a Hook. And I was so eager to spin it. I spun it really fast. I did do a fractal spin, so I split the braid lengthwise in half, put one half of the braid aside to spin just straight off, and then I took the second half of the lengthwise split braid and split that into like 6 to 8. I think it was more like 8 pieces. So I split it in half, split it in half, split it in half. So I had these long little nests. And the idea is that, one ply, because I did a 2-ply, has longer color repeats than the second ply. And let me pull that out. And it was 4.7 ounces of fiber. I thought initially it was like 4.2. But I got this massive cake that looks really stunning. And I'll post also a picture of it skeined up. But I couldn't leave it. I had to cake it up. And I have been wanting and scheming to make the tessellated vest by Andrea Mowry, and I bought some yarn last year at camp from Tumalo Fiber, my friend Tatiana, and I have been like sitting on it. I think I've bought like 3 different color options of spin cycle to use in it, and it just wasn't hitting. I don't know. I just wasn't excited about it. And so when I got that skein caked up, I was like, I have enough yardage to do the tessellated vest with the yarn I got from Tatiana and like some kind of Surrey or mohair. And so I did a little swatch, and I am so into it. It's kind of like, so I was saying to Kay, I was like, it's kind of like a neutral. And they were like, yeah, okay. But it does kind of feel like a neutral. Like, it hits like all of my colors that I love. It's actually kind of similar to this, not gonna lie. But I don't think I would wear it the same way because it's like it wouldn't be open. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. The Surrey that I picked is Cumulus by Fiber Spates. It's something we have at Starlight. This gorgeous chartreusey color. And yeah, so I'm very eager to cast this on, but I've got like 3 deadlines that I don't want to distract myself from. So this is sort of like waiting in the wings to be chosen. But the swatch turned out like on gauge, and so I am excited to cast it on, and I will. But I have more pressing projects. I have been knitting and kind of bringing with me places these Progressive Pride flag socks. You've probably seen them if you watch Sibling Energy. This is a self-striping sock skein from Always Be Kind yarn that I got at Black Sheep, and I really did cast this on and knit it while walking in the Pride Parade, and then I was knitting on it at Pride karaoke, and then I was knitting on it at a drag show, and then I was knitting on it at Opera in the Park. So it has like a lot of memories of 2024 Pride, which I think is very sweet. So these will be for Kay. They fit them perfectly, and I am, making headway on the second one. So they're like kind of similarly matched, but they're just like off by like kind of a stripe. So yeah, that's been a nice project to just have when I'm like don't want to work on anything else. I have like 2 projects that are largely stockinette right now. These socks and my sheep camp sweater that I'll pull out in a moment. And what I like about the socks is that I can see the progress happening. Like it's like, oh, I'm on to the next color. Oh, I'm on to the next color. Whereas the sheep camp, I finally put a little progress keeper on because I was like, I've been knitting for 2 hours and I don't think I've made any progress. Yesterday I probably knit for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, because I had knit night, and in the morning I was really trying to slow down because I'm still like sort of reeling from flock and all the prep for flock. But I was like, I feel like I haven't knit anything. But I knit about 2 inches yesterday, so that's good. My sheep camp is looking really nice. It definitely looks like I've made progress on it, which I have. I separated for the sleeves. Like, look how nice it is. But before I separated from the sleeves, I did a little bit of an adjustment. So, it's a circular yoke. Some people really like circular yokes. I do find them flattering on myself. Just the way that my body is shaped. I do, if I have any kind of preference, prefer a combination circular yoke with raglan. I've talked about that before, but usually I like about 2/3 of the increases to be circular yoke shaping and the last third to be raglan, so it just kind of differentiates it enough. But with this, design, it's very much circular yoke shape. So Tim and I kind of put it over my shoulders to try it on before I separated for the sleeves. And I was finding, like, he was like, you've got a lot of stitches in the back. Like, we were like looking at it and it just looked really bunched up. And I was like, I don't want to do math, but I will do math. And so I looked at the pattern, figured out how many stitches I had. And what I ended up doing was like, okay, so we've got the circle of the circular yoke, and we've got these 2 sections that are separated for the sleeves. So there's an equal amount of stitches on the front and the back. My body, along with a lot of other people who have chests, have more like surface area on the front. In the past, I've like knit 2 sizes, so like if I'm casting on and sort of accommodating for this, I will like cast on the front stitches as 1 size bigger and like the back stitches as 1 size smaller, so that there's just fewer stitches at the back. And like basically what it does is it shifts the armholes back so that there's more stitches at the front. And I realized that's probably what I needed to do. So I was happy with the size of the armholes, and so I didn't change the amount of stitches for the armholes, although I have been noticing that some people are having very small armholes on the smaller sizes with this pattern. Tim included. We had to do some math at knit night yesterday to like make sure that he wasn't going to be like totally constricted in the bicep. But regardless, I sort of just like at the center back, I just made sure that there were like the back number of stitches were smaller. I kept the same number of stitches for the armholes, and then there was like way more stitches, not like a ton more, but maybe like 20 more stitches that had shifted from the back to the front. So, if I like set it down, it's not perfectly bisected. There's just more stitches on the front. I hope that makes sense. It's not a perfect science, but the best advice I can give is to like take the number of stitches that you want for your size and then sort of compare it to the size above and size below, and sometimes that matches up nicely, sometimes you have to do a little bit of adjusting, but it is a good fix if you're worried about too many stitches on the back. So yeah, I am, you know, chugging along. I think I'm gonna make it a little cropped, probably about 11 inches. And I also separated early for the sleeves. So I separated like at this point instead of like down here. So, you know, making progress, just gotta keep going. It is all stockinette, so like doing it while watching TV and movies with Kay in the evening, and at knit night, and etc., etc. And that is part of a knit along that Tim and I are hosting on Sibling Energy. If you want more info, I will link it down below. It's almost over, which is kind of wild. Last episode I mentioned I had made a little chart to do like hot to go socks, and I did knit it, but it was just not working, and so I put the project aside. I just have too many other things, but I love that hot pink and red together, so I want to use them for something. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I said I would give you updates, and I did knit it, and I was just like, I sent the picture to Tim and I was like, this isn't working, and he was like, it looks like it says hot to goo, hoot to goo, so we keep saying that, but I digress. The last project that I want to share with you is also kind of under a deadline because it's for a baby shower. Now I don't think that they will see this, and I will try, you know, to be quiet about it. But it is the Fruity Slipover. It's so cute. So this is like the top of it, and the theme of the baby shower is apple of our eyes, and I knew this pattern existed, and I was just like, I have to knit the little apple sweater vest. So the pattern is not for the faint of heart. It's a little annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but now that I'm like on to the body, I think I'm ready to go, and I'm using my yarn Swamio in a new color, this red color, which I called Caught, like caught red-handed, and then the little leftovers of my little Chartreuse simple scarf. So it's very cute. I'm gonna just put a picture of the pattern up here so you can see it, because you can do it as pumpkins, you can do it as apples, and yeah, I just got it joined. It looks so teeny tiny, but babies are tiny. And my grandma is sewing some like black and white gingham clothes so that we can kind of style it when we present it for them. So I'll definitely take pictures of this, hopefully like a little video of it. So it's very soft because it's like non-superwash merino. I'm gonna like gift it to them with like a little tiny bottle of unscented eucalyptus. I think they'll probably be fine with, you know, using it kind of more as like a prop sweater for photos than anything. So yeah, but I'm enjoying making that, and yeah, just like a lot of like obligation knitting. I feel like that has been the theme because I was like getting ready for flock and wanted the like turtle dove shawl sample, and I'm working on like a little fun project for the Rose City Yarn Crawl next year, and of course the sheep camp, which I'm really hoping to finish by Labor Day. I am going on a little trip with Kay to visit our brother and sister-in-law, or my brother and sister, my brother-in-law, whatever. And so I'm planning on just bringing that project to force myself to work on it, which I think is good. And I think that brings us to the end of what I've been working on. I do want to show you all, do a little self-promotion about what will be in the shop by the time this is up, so that you can head over to Emtothethird.com and check out the goods. One of the new things that I have been making are fiber bats. I'm having so much fun. I'm kind of like just getting the hang of it. The first batch that I did was for Black Sheep Gathering in June, and I brought 10 more to flock, and I'm learning a lot. I feel like I've improved a lot since then. But let me just, they are in these bags, so I apologize for both the reflection and the crinkling sound. But we've got like a bunch of them. I'm so happy with like how they've turned out.
To the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn. The voice of the robin, the call of the dove, the red leaves are falling, the barn owl is calling.
Yay! Okay, so those will be listed on the website, and then I've got like the full range of colors of Sueño available online. So we've got Pink Lady. I'm just gonna like post some like photos. The full lineup. We've got Pink Lady, we've got Paper Stars, we've got Amanita, we've got Hugo and Sugar Plum, we've got Gathering Moss, we've got Night Swimming. I don't always have that color because it's one of the more expensive colors that I dye, but I've got a big batch of those right now. I've also got this new color Caught, which is the bright red. I've got a lot of Harvest and a lot of Peach Rings. And then I've also got a whole selection of minis that are like so nice. So yes, I was eager to record a podcast episode. I was trying to record one before going to flock, like the week leading up to it. And I was like, girl. But I'm so glad to sit down and record with you. I have some fun content coming up, lots of like big project planning, and also a little like ideas for fall knitting. And yeah, woo! I always try to make these short and sweet so that they're not like too long. And I think I did a good job today. I've also had so much caffeine that I'm just like blah, 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 blah. But thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the podcast episodes and sibling energy. It's really, really great to have you here. I'm congratulating myself on 50 episodes of Emtothethird knitting. And yeah. Happy end of summer, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.